Hello guys, I welcome you all once again to my channel. In our today's video, we are simply going to be looking at the assignment I sent to the group, which is creating a section of Hamster Kombat Widget. Are you getting it? I remember in our previous tutorial, I've told you guys that before you start creating a website, the very first thing that you need to do is to set up your root folder, which I've done here. And as you can see on the root folder, I have my images.jpeg. Take note of the extension JPEG for my hamster combat image, and I have combat.png for my Bitcoin image. Then just above, I'm having hamster.html for the file. Are you getting it? So now let's dive into the coding environment. So now as you can see, I'm on my coding environment. So the very first thing I'm simply going to be doing again, as you all know, is for me to create um, my HTML skeleton. So as you can see, I'm already having my HTML skeleton. I've opened the HTML tag, my header, open and close tag. I have my title as hamster cave, K-app. Then I have my button activated in between the open and close body that would carry every other content of this website. So now let's just save and preview what we are having before we move on. Okay, we are good to go. So the very first thing we need to do, if you observe the image I sent, the background color is black. So there is need, using our CSS style, let's set our background color to black. Background color, which is equals to black. Let's save and preview. Okay, we're having our background color black. So the next thing is for you to import our images. I remember my image name is images.jpeg. So my image src for source, then the name of my image is images.jpeg. So I'll close it, then save and refresh. Okay, I'm having my image. Then if you observe, the edges of the image is curved. So using my CSS styling, I'm going to set the border radius to be equal to 10 px. Sorry, 10 px. I'll save. Then as you can see, the edges is now curved. Then the next thing is the text. Then if you observe, the text is bold. So I'm simply going to be using my H1 to write our token launches on the OKX. Then let's save and preview. Okay, the reason why you're not seeing the text is because it has assumed the default color, which is black, and our background is black. So there is need for me to set, using my HTML syntax, I'm going to set my font color to be equal to white. I can use CSS if I want to, but I don't want to use CSS. So I'll come below it here, close my font, close my font, and let's refresh and see. Okay, we are having our token launches on the X. Then if you notice the image I sent, everything is centralized. So there is need for me to come here and declare my center tag, close it. Is automatically closing all the tag I open. So let me close it here. So I'm supposed to open it at the beginning of my coding. So let me close it here. I'll preview. Okay. my image is, so this center is supposed to come at the beginning of the code so that my image will be centralized. So as you can see, we are having everything at the center. So the next one is an exciting moment. So I'll still come here and exciting moments. The next line I have profit per hour. So let's save and preview. Okay, profit per hour is supposed to go to the next line. So I'll come here, I'll use my paragraph to move it down to the next line with a little space in between the unexciting moment and the profit per hour, as you can see on the page. So the next one, on the next line, I'll be having my image. So if I don't want to stress myself to impute the code from scratch, I can simply copy from the previous one I imputed, but let me just type it, image source. And if you remember, the name of my image is combat.png. Combat.png. Let me just preview and see. Okay, our image is being inputted, is being imported. But if you observe, the size is far larger compared to what we need on the screen. So I'll simply use my HTML attribute, which is width. Then I'll set it to, let me use 50%. That means I'm reducing it from the 100% resolution it has assumed to 50%. Then if you observe now, the image has been reduced down to 50%, but this is still far bigger than what I need. That means I need to reduce it more. Let me use 10%. Then let's see. It's still too big. Let me reduce it something to 4%, and let's see how it's going to be. Okay, I think the 4% is okay, or we can leave it at 5%. Then immediately after the image, we have plus, I think there is space, or let's leave it that way. We have plus 6.44K. Then let's save. Okay, we're having our 6 plus 6.44K. Then if you observe, our profit per hour and our Bitcoin image plus our 6.4 are on the same line. So there is need for me to move it down to the next line. And if you observe the image I sent, the space in between the profit per hour and the image is not that big. So I won't use paragraph here. I'll simply use my break, which will simply move the image down to the next line. So as you can see, the space in between them is not that much compared to what we are having in between the unexciting moment and the profit per hour. So there is need for you to understand the difference between the break tag, the BR, which is break tag, and the paragraph. So the next one is for you to create the Bitcoin image and the 1,045,402. So I'll go back. Then if you observe, the space in between this and the one we are about to create is much. So there is need for me to use a tag with a higher line index, that is paragraph. So instead of me, since we are having same image with a few changes in the text, so I'll just copy, instead of writing the code from scratch, I'll just copy it, paste it. Let's preview and see. Okay, we are having the same text on the same line, so I'll simply move this one down using my paragraph as I explained earlier, then take out this close, then change the plus 65 to 1 million 045, then 402. Let's preview and see. Okay, as you can see, we are having a perfect image. So now the image down is far bigger than the one at the top. So I'll just increase it from the 5% to 8%. Okay, as you can see, I'm having this one far more bigger compared to what we're having at the top. So the next one, which is also the last one, is the button. So I'll simply create my button, close it. The text is go ahead. I'll save, then let's preview and see. Okay, on the same line, and we are having a default white background color with a black text and border of possibly 1px or 2px. So let's start styling our border. First of all, I'll create my paragraph to move it down to the next line. Let's preview and see. Okay, it has moved to the next line. Then I'll activate my cursor inside the open button so that I can make use of my CSS style. Then the first thing I'm going to do is to set my width to, let's say, 300px. 300px. I'll close it. Then let's preview and see. Okay, as you can see, we are having a larger button. So now let's set the um, height to something like 50px. Let's save and see. 50px. Okay, it's too small. Let's make it a little more bigger, like 60px. Oh, okay, this one is far better. Then again, the edges of the button is curved, so we need to introduce our border radius, which I'm already having here. So I'll set my border radius to 10px. Save. Okay, our border radius is already there. Then let's set our background color to blue, because that's what we are having there. Our background color to blue. Let's save again and refresh and see. Wow, why is it not taking effect? Okay, background color, we didn't include our colon. Okay, we are having our background color. Then if you observe, we have a default border, and the image I sent is not carrying border. So there is need for we to, using our CSS, we need to set the border to 0px. 0px. Close it. Then let's preview and see. Wow. Okay, now it's remaining the last one. The go ahead. We're having black color, and the one I sent is white color. So there is need for we to set our color to white. Our color to white. If you use background color, you are referring to the background of that element. But if you use ordinary color, you are referring to the content, the color of the content of that element. So just refresh, and as you can see, we successfully replicate a widget section of Hamster Kombat. If you are yet to subscribe to our channel, kindly do so. Subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, share. Thank you very much.